you trust your crypto assets to centralized exchanges that actively sell your private information and front run your trades? Would you like to buy and sell your assets without any middlemen, intermediaries, or robots? Do you like paying slippage, fees, and having the price go up as bots steal from you on low liquidity decentralized exchanges? The solution is nodemarket.io. Set your guaranteed buy or sell price. No middlemen, no slippage, no bots, ever. Buy or sell 1, 10, or even 10 million tokens, and you never have to worry. OTC trades are between you and the seller or buyer, guaranteed by audited smart contracts and no human middlemen. Nodemarket.io.
That's some dumbass Christmas cheer. You guys don't even get the best part of it. He spelled Christmas wrong. He didn't just spell it wrong by one letter. Brandon screwed it up. CHRISMAS. And it says 3 on it, which means there were 2 other attempts. Oh, whoa, man. Okay, we'll do some Q&As. I'm gonna say hello to everybody first. Hello. Probably gonna have a talk about adulting today. God, you spend about 13 fucking milliseconds in one of these Telegram chats and you just realize people are led by nonsense. People you guys know that we're almost all adults here, right? And investing, we're punting our money into digital assets. There is no space for people to act like whiny little bitches. Those people are going to lose money. God, you know how to predict. Do you ever see, well, it's other than Elon Musk, do you ever see like billionaires just whine and cry like little bitches? You don't see that. There's a reason you don't see that. I had a buddy who he was all about studying billionaires. He's like, you want to be a billionaire? Just study billionaires. I'm like, that's so probably accurate. So I used to just read about billionaires. What's up, Rudy? I used to just read about billionaires, and like, there's a great book about the guys from Dell and like the main guy from Dell. So I think, you can learn. It's called like once lucky, twice you're good, or something to that effect. Anyway, the idea is like there are repeatable characteristics about successful people. Some people fall into money one time, they do one big thing, and then boom. Like a lot of people have argued, like Mark Zuckerberg did a big thing and then that's it. I don't so much agree. I think he's actually quite intelligent. But you could make that argument. But most of the billionaires that I've read about, and I just use billionaire because it's a big number, and you have to do more than create a widget to become a billionaire. It takes a lot of things have to fall into place, and you might have to be really good and to an extent lucky. But there are people that have repeated their kind of like billionaire success multiple times. What up, Conan? So it's worth, it's worth looking at. It's worth looking at. So when there's a few people I study. Now I urge everybody, what up? I urge everybody to find two or three individuals. You can't really do much more than that, but find 2 or 3 individuals that have exceeded what you think is really just normally possible. Like in the hedge fund space, I like Jeffrey Gundlach. He's probably, I don't know, he's like as dry as like dry ice, right? But there is zero emotion, man. The guy is a cold, calculated financial like assassin. And you can learn a lot from individuals like that. There's a few others out there. I like Mike Green. I like all of his stuff about passive indexation. I think he's really smart. I think he's probably the reason he doesn't have more interest is because sometimes people can't kind of keep up with what he's saying, but he's really good. I like Jeff Snyder, his analysis of like Mark, but Jeff Snyder's not a billionaire. Green's not a billionaire, but find a couple people that have like exceptionally moved past where normal rational people think. Like a normal does anybody in here, let's do a little test. Is anybody in the chat right now? Good morning. Think that you are realistically going to become a billionaire? I'm not counting about Venezuelan hyperinflation and shit like that. I'm saying, does anybody in here really, A, do you think you're going to be a billionaire? 2, do you want to be a billionaire? So now let's go the other way. However, does anybody in here maybe want to absorb some of the tools that those billionaires have used to break out of what most people would just say is not even rationally possible? Like most of us just don't think that way. And I didn't think that way. I was like, $1 billion, that's like, I don't know what it would take. It would just be, it's just mind-bogglingly impossible. You can't really fathom that until you can. So many of you, okay, so let's go this. Are there people here who endeavor, pre-inflation, right now money, not debased money, but right now money, to be a multimillionaire? And if the answer is yes, multimillionaire, because of the life that it would give you, because of the time that you could buy back, because of the freedom that you could kind of enjoy, like give me some reasoning behind that. So say yes, millionaire, because it would allow me. So then what you do is and I think most people are probably in that camp. That was my original camp. It's like, dude, just get to $1 million, man. Get to a damn $1 million. And of course, like I'm chasing like government effects and debasement and bullshit monetary policy. So like you get to $1 million and $1 million's not really $1 million. And then you're like, crap, what do I got to do? But what you can do is, and we've done this before, you reduce things to small obtainable goals. And the first goal is, what would buy yourself some happiness and some freedom? And that number, if you do the math, is right around, in most markets, not Los Angeles, probably not New York, but in most markets, it's about $10,000 extra per month per family member, right? Per family member. So that's pretty important, because you need to think, well, if a wife or husband and 2 kids, that means $40K. That doesn't mean you won't be happy. It means that that's where, on the aggregate, most people are happy. Yes, $10K. And in a lot of places, yeah, like Ryan's saying, like $5K a month would just make life easy, right? It would just make life easier. And then, so that's the first goal. So everybody's first goal, I think, you can do whatever you want, but everybody's first goal should be get to the extra $10K a month. Now listen, this is all debts paid. If you owe anything, any credit card debt, anything, you got to get that knocked out. School, anything. Guess what? Guess what also counts? If you have a mortgage, you're in debt. I know people like, a house doesn't count. It absolutely does count. You subtract out what you would have been paying in rent, right? That comes out. So it's income, expenses, assets, liabilities. What's left? Cash flow. You guys know this. This is like common sense 101, or needs to be. It probably isn't, but needs to be. So it must include nitro. Okay, so think, if you put that math in place, say, okay, I'm paying for a house, I'm paying for a car. You need $10K a month extra after all that stuff. You wipe out all your debt, exhaust your debt. I know that some people in here have knocked out all their debt. That's like the best thing. That's like absolutely the best thing. Like when you've whacked all your debt, that night, that day, you will never experience greater euphoria. Like, period. There is no greater feeling than all debt gone, like gone. And I've hit some other moments where I thought these were big deals, but nothing like the debt. When I hit $1 million, it wasn't the same as when I wiped out my debt. When I hit 10 million, wasn't the same, wiped out debt. 50 million, wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. I know you think, holy crap, like, no, dude, it wasn't the same. Getting debt free is the very best thing you can do ever, ever. Because you can, just for a second, you can breathe. Like, you can sit back and go, ooh. Right. Now, those of you that don't have debt because you just lived a life of no debt, good for you. Good for you. Good for you. That's great. That's awesome. And if you don't owe any debt and you manage yourself accordingly, that's amazing. That's what you want to do. That's what you should endeavor to do. But a lot of people don't have that. So everybody who's in here, your first step right now, your first step right now is to get out of debt. Once you get out of debt, your next step is 10,000 extra a month. 10,000 extra a month. You imagine yourself, you're a little planet. Your financial power is a planet. And you're a black hole, a green hole. Everybody here's a green hole. And you have an event horizon. That's your means. Outside the event horizon, you can't get that stuff. You can't afford that stuff. At the edge of the event horizon, you can. But you don't want to live at the edge of your means. You don't want to live at the edge of your event horizon of financial capacity, because the minute things change, you're fucked. You understand that? And I see it all the time in Los Angeles. Like, it's so apparent. People, they get more money, they get a bigger house. They get more this, they get more stuff, they get more stuff, they get more stuff. They always live on the edge. They got to show everyone how good they're doing. They got to success signaling. I'm successful. Yeah, okay. Good for you. Let's be successful. You, like, they live on the edge of their means. And then the minute something happens, like the strikes that we just saw that went on for 9 months, they're busted. And I've quoted this before, and this is, you can go look it up. 1 in 3 people in America that make $250,000 a year or more are 1 month away from bankruptcy. Think about that for a second. See, you probably know someone who's living the life of Riley. Oh, they're crushing it. Oh man, they're making so much money. They're doing so good. 250K a year, 300K, 350K a year, until something happens. And 1 month later, they are dusted. They are bankrupt. Second mortgages and all this kind of stuff. So that stuff resonates with me. I grew up where I wasn't sure where we were. We were kind of middle class, I guess. And we certainly weren't upper class. And both of my parents had their own businesses, but they were never doing good at the same time. And I felt like we were faking it all the time. They would go to these dinner parties and also stupid, signally, socially bullshit. And I would just be in these giant houses, like giant. And I was like, what are we doing here? This is not us. We are not this. And matter of fact, what are these people doing here? They are not this. A lot of those people, I watched them get destroyed financially, but I didn't understand it. I was a kid. Like, I was like, I don't understand why this guy's no longer like rich. Like, what happened? Like, how do you not be rich? In my mind, it didn't make sense that you could be rich and then all of a sudden not be rich. And it's because people live in leverage. People live on plastic. People live at the edge of their event horizon of financial capacity. And then something happens, a divorce, whatever. That was a lot of it, but whatever. And gone. So there's no, Scott. So to reduce this to, how do you get to 10K a month? Well, you reduce that. How do I have my investment portfolio spit off, or my other, it doesn't have to be your investment portfolio. It can be your income from work that you do. But the problem is, work that you do, if the boss comes in one day and says you're fired, that's gone. If the work changes or robots come and take that job, you're done. Like, ideally, you want to build a financial cushion where your investments, through compounding interest and other effects, spit off 10K a month, $2,500 a week, right? So like, $570 a day ish, 550, shoot for 600, you know, and then tax adjusted, whatever. So like, you have to think, let me get there. Let me get to when I was doing like I had done a Amazon books for a while. I was like, okay, this is cool. Maybe I can figure this out. And my buddy and I had noticed like coloring books, adult coloring books. That's like a thing. We're like, come on, let's make an adult coloring book. So we went out, we bought, we went to Shutterstock. We bought the rights to like 700 black and white drawings. Like we made adult coloring books. We just called it, and then we put like curse words on every page because that's all that apparently it takes for an adult coloring book is you just have like a big black and white picture of like scribbly lines and the word fuck on it, and that's an adult coloring book. And then like lots of like unhappy like single females seem to buy them, and that's not even that's like what's happening. It was so crazy. Anyway, we sold so many of these stupid books and we just did them on Amazon. I'll tell you how stupid people are. I mean, I eventually got kicked off of Amazon for doing crap like this, but I'll tell you how stupid people are. People were buying our ebook, adult coloring book. Think about that for a second. Well, you can grab your crayons and use your Kindle. Come on, man. We sold a shit ton of them. Anyway, after about 6 months, I got booted for like gaming, the metadata thing, but I took that money. Some of that money I used, and this was, when would this be? 2014. I wasn't really full crypto at that time. I wasn't there, but the point is I was just looking. I was always looking. I still kind of put my finger in things all the time. Like, oh, maybe there's an opportunity here. Maybe there's something. And so you need to be doing that. Every one of you individually need to be doing that. Whatever way, whatever works for you, whatever you're interested in, I would urge all of you to look and see what you're good at personally, because somebody somewhere in the world or many somebodies want what you're good at. They want what you're good at. And so if you can find a way to deliver it to them, there you go. Yeah, I mean, hypercycle franchises may be it for a lot of people, but don't count on anything. Count on nothing. I know it was so stupid. Dude, let me tell you, me and my buddy, and I'm not going to tell you who he is because he's an actor and he's like well-known and he'd probably be embarrassed. We also did a book. We did a book on our iPhone. We took pictures. I ordered this creepy clown from eBay. I mean, creepy. It had like been involved in a fire and it was like left. And anyway, I bought it for like, I don't know. It's like Annabelle, but like a clown. It's the scariest shit you've ever seen. Anyway, I still have it. It's in my closet. I leave it up in my closet staring. So if someone goes in my closet, they're just looking at it. It's like right by a Louis Vuitton box. That's empty, by the way, because I'm not like that. But anyway, it's just anyway, I bought this clown. We took pictures of it. In one day, we made a book called Creepy the Clown. I don't think you can still get it because, again, I got kicked off of Amazon, but the book is awesome. It's a full color story of a creepy clown. And I thought, people are so scared of clowns, but what if a clown was just a pervert instead of a clown? So we just made a book about a clown who's a pervert, likes to hook up with stuffed dolls. And so we sold it as like, if you're afraid of clowns, this is the book for you. We sold the shit out of it. Anyway, stuff like that, like just random stuff we would try. Of course, there's a lot of stuff we tried that went nowhere. Like we thought it would be funny to do a book about like, it was called All of the Greatest Contributions to Science That Were Made by Ex-Wives. And I know this sounds silly, but like on the cover, we put this like really cool, like it looked like something that came out of academia, like a bunch of people in like a French court arguing something and all. Anyway, the book is empty. It's all just empty pages. 400 pages of empty book. The idea is like a funny notebook. Like, here's all the contributions that ex-wives have ever made to science. And it's like nothing. Anyway, that book did not do so well, but it got good reviews because people thought it was really funny and some hate mail. But anyway, like we tried all sorts of stupid stuff. And you should be comfortable trying stupid stuff. Just don't pile a bunch of money into stupid stuff. That's the key. But your goal is figure out stuff that you're good at, monetize some of that stuff, especially if you like investing. And there's your pool of investment money because it came from stuff that didn't exist. Like you have your job is what you do to pay your bills, and whatever kind of debt responsibility you have, right? But your job is not your life. Your job is a place where you check in and check out. Okay. Then instead of watching Netflix and sports and all this other stupid shit, which again, they've been making fun of people who go back to Juvenile, like bread and circus. People who consume themselves with watching sports and TV and all, that's fine. But you realize you've been the butt of jokes since like before fucking Jesus, right? You realize you're like, you're a demographic that's been made fun of forever, since there was written, since you could write. Why do you think they had the Colosseum? Why do you think they had the gladiator fights? Like, it is to get everybody fixated. So you have to break out of that, and you have to be willing to sacrifice some of that extra time to do things that could spit off the kind of income that might be $500, $600 a day. So you start and say, listen, can I make an extra $20 a day, $30 a day? A lot of you are making $20, $30 a day on staking. You're already on the way. Even if you don't realize it, you're on the way. What happens when many of those assets go up in value over this next bull market? You're going to find that all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, crap. Just from staking rewards, I'm making $200-$300 a day. Holy crap. That's $70,000 to $100,000 a year. I'm making a whole income from staking rewards. So like this will happen too. So that's another line that I crossed. I got to a point where there was one point where my Cardano rewards, just Cardano, which remember, it was only like 7% in the beginning. It's not even that now. It's like 5 and change because there's so many people, but that's still fine. But I was making on my Cardano rewards, well, at one point at the height of the token, like $12,000 a week. Well, because I had to factor like every 5 days is an epic. And then you say, what's a week? That's 2 more, which is 40% of another epic, whatever. But like, I kind of mathed it out, and it was about, gosh, at $3 and like 9 cents, I think is what, God, I was like, holy crap. Like, but I wasn't selling anything. I had already sold my 10X take 20 and I had swapped it into other assets. I never pulled any money out of the crypto space. The first time I was ever going to pull any money out of the crypto space was when I took some cash I was going to dump on a down payment on this house, which for those of you probably been following, I decided not to do that. And last week I took that money that was going to be used as a down payment and I bought Bitcoin at 38,770. I think was my buy-in price. I'd have to check my watch because like the Kraken thing was on my watch. Anyway, that worked out. But the point is, you have all these bits of your investments, and if they start to melt up, and Jim, no, I'm not going to talk about the conversation with Toofy because you can go watch it. I'm not going to re-say what Toofy said because that's what Toofy said. Just go listen to Toofy. So essentially, throughout my investment kind of career, I've always looked for ways to monetize the things that I'm already good at. You guys are good at tons of stuff. So you have that right there. And most of you here, be honest, yes or no in the chat. Have you tried to monetize some of your skill sets through an ebook, through consulting, through counseling, things like that? Jim, you're right. I'm kind of being half absurd. Toofy sometimes does need to be, I'm like the English translator for Toofy sometimes, because he's thinking on a level that most of us probably IQ wise just can't really get there. So I agree with you. I'm being goofy. So think about it. All of you here, most of you here probably have a skill or many skills that you could try to monetize. Everybody here. And I don't mean it has to be ebooks, but again, yes, can be consulting, could be ebooks, could be, whatever. Think about it. Go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm good at this. How could I monetize that? 5 minutes. Some of you have. Yes, some of you have, but not all of you. So I'd say I would urge you to do that. All right. I want to make sure that people are using all the resources they have. I say this because our days of being able to invest as private investors are going away. You guys get that, right? You guys understand there is an expiration date on all of this. We will not be participants, private investor participants in markets for very much longer. Like this whole passive indexation effect should be quite obvious to everyone. Then you add in artificial intelligence and the transition to artificial general intelligence, and it should be blindingly, abundantly slapping you in the face like that really close-up shot in pornography, obvious that it is over. We as human investors, flicking switches, picking at that shit is over with. It is coming to an end. In the same way that all these software engineers thought they had jobs forever, and they're finding themselves unemployed. Because these things, all of these things are being transitioned to software. And anywhere there's a human standing in the middle that can be replaced by software, that middleman is going to be replaced by middleware. And then that middleware will be replaced by even better software or a thinking entity or swarm of entities that obviate the need for that middleware so that there's just an AGI entity or swarm of them in between. So, I mean, this is going away. So you have to plan and say, okay, if all this is going away, how do I have to set myself up for a future that probably looks like universal basic income, a future that probably looks like, AGI agents doing most everything, especially in financial markets, and arbitraging everything in real time? What does it look like? It looks like some kind of amalgam of like the future of Blade Runner and like all of the financial stupidity that was going on in 2021 when everybody was getting their free checks. Some people will be happy. Some people will gamble. No one's ever content. Like no one. I'm not content. I thought I would be content. So we're going to do a cool thing today, by the way. We're going to talk about Dante's Inferno of investors and which ring of hell are you in? You have to figure it out as we go through it. You have to say, I'm in this one. But I think it's important to give this kind of stuff some consideration. We don't have, see, this is, I believe this 100%. I believe it creates a financial caste system instantly. Because once you get in whatever lane you're in, right? Like Cruisen's saying, once you get into that lane, how are you going to escape? You might get anointed if you're some beautiful human and some super rich individual just like plucks you out of the burrows. But like, how are you going to, if AGI is arbitraging every opportunity in real time, then there are no opportunities. Then everything is kind of flat or gently sloped. And it makes you wonder where our ability to participate is. And it's not much. And I think to Marty's point, I think it's going to be to select the right AI engine, but on the other side of it, maybe you'd have your AI selecting the right AI engine. I mean, all this stuff resolves back to the same point. The Apple game. And there's one always turns to the other and shoots them. So like, I do think it's important that people think about this. We don't have forever to get this right. It is very crucial right now that you do everything. Stop watching fucking Netflix. Turn that shit off. Stop watching sports. It is a fucking time waste. If you watch reality TV, blow your brains out. Like, don't actually do that. But like, come on, man. You guys, you need to make your time work for you. And John, I think the timeline is probably 36 months tops. I don't even think it's that. Just think how far we've come since January to now. We're 11 and change months since, the real onboarding experience of Chat GPT. Think how far we've come now. That's a lot, bro. We are far. What do you think we're going to be in a year from now? 2 years. Remember, every single day you look at AI, it's the dumbest it's ever going to be. You're looking at the dumbest AI is ever going to be today. And it's not so dumb. Oof, that's kind of scary to think about. Okay, I don't want to get so much into that kind of stuff, Cruising. We'll talk about that in the digital investor group, and we'll talk about that private client. We'll talk about that on tomorrow's video with Brandon. I want to keep this more philosophical, these Tuesday, Thursday chats. So before we go behind the wall, real quick, today is the last day on the node market, the marketplace, NFTs. If you own one by the end of today, by midnight, then that group, that cohort, whoever owns them, the rev share is 100% of whatever the exchange makes. It's going to be divided evenly among the people that own licenses, among the licenses. So that's it. There we go. It's like, who's pocketing the money? You are pocketing the money. There it is. And we do this kind of thing because we get it. We're building this thing. We're rolling out features, and we know it's quiet right now. Oh, it's not so quiet. I mean, but yeah, anyway, there you go. Yay. Okay. Let's shoot behind the wall, and let's talk about Dante's Inferno of investing. You're like, what the shit is he talking about? Oh, you'll see, my friends. Oh, you'll see. For those of you that are not part of digital investor community, it's $99 a month, bro. What is it? What they say in Mean Girls? Why are you so poor? I'm just kidding, but seriously.
We're going behind the proverbial wall now to continue the broadcast privately for the digital investors and digital private clients. If you'd like to join us, simply go to nickblacknext.com and subscribe to one of our plans and immediately take advantage of our library of tools, tactics, and information. It's all designed to help you learn, grow, and manage your portfolio like a pro. Join us now.